Hello and welcome to my new video. Today I will continue make prints and print from the last time. I want to fix the color on this print. And as I mentioned before, I bought additional stuff for my darkroom. The first thing is actually a frame, which I have for a long period of time. And I want to take this picture and put it in this frame and to make a final product from my print. And additionally, as I described before, I was lacking of the print book. So basically full sketch opening type of notebook where I can tape my scraps, all types of tests and test prints and make notes. So I will do that. And also I will collect some additional information in this book about the prints, where, when, how, and this type of things. Last time I put my notes here on this piece of paper. It's not really scientific type of thing, which like everybody understand. So I will put my test prints. So all of my test prints in the book. And this test print will be actually beginning of the same reprint. And because I'm changing the size of the prints, I will make adjustments for the time. So basically closer to the paper you are, less exposure time you need. So less magnification, more color and light density per square millimeter of the paper. So you have kind of a more power per square millimeter of the paper. So this is how it works, and you can actually recalculate it. I have a formula before on my channel, but I think I will just keep it. But in general, on a writing stand, you have a numbers which can correspond with the magnifications, and you can use these numbers to recalculate your power, which is extremely fun and extremely good to know and good to have. And I think in the modern world it should be automatic, but not a lot of things automized. Some of the things should be calculated, and some of the things is just good to have. And yeah, let's start from that. Let's open up the frame and actually check what size of the paper I need. It's a lot of kind of different types of passepartouts. I'm usually just buying the cheap IKEA, sometimes metal, sometimes wooden frames. Based on the quality, what I'm getting from them, this is one of the best solutions what you can find on the market. I'm wondering and dreaming, and at some point I will probably buy professional expensive framing or set, or I will just order some frames from the local framer, but I'm just not ready yet, I think, for that. So I will just make prints, and for this particular one I want to test fit several solutions what I want to make. I will frame it up, so I will just crop the picture to the size, and I will even probably use the same size of paper here because it fits perfectly well. So as you can see here, I can put the paper like it is inside, but what I need to do, I actually need to crop it to the size of this frame itself. So I can use the passepartout itself as a frame for the exposures, but in the same time I can crop it down a little bit more for this particular paper, but I just need to know the size. So I probably will use this test print to just on opposite side just mark the size what I want from the middle, and I will use this size to basically transfer it here, and I will use this as a reference for my size of the final picture. I see on this picture that it's a little bit reddish, so it means I need to change filtration, and it means I need to increase the filtration for the cyan filter, and it means I need to change two filters in the same time. And because at the moment it's asymmetrical, so I have settings 82, 70, 0. I need to change both filters in the same time. So I will test print it. I will make one additional test print and compare it to the result of the face. And I want to check the size of the final print first. And after that, I will just guesstimate the exposure and probably will correct the exposure of the final print also with a test print. So let's start with putting notes inside my book. So what I like about this type of books, that you can fold them up and you actually have a full size page for your notes. And now we will start with the printing. And I just want to reference my sheets here and just, tape them down, because I want to see the settings. And this is also bad because you already can see that I forget to mark this one and this one. So I don't really remember which direction I was going. I can only see it on the video. You saw it, you remember it, but I already blank. I cannot remember which settings I used before. And this is why I write them down here. So I will just write them down and tape both of them. I'm actually using this funny tape, but I think it's not the perfect solution for this type of application. But like, come on, I want to be a little bit pretty with my journaling, and fancy paper tape sounds like a perfect thing for this application. And we can finalize the first page and just put the dates, notes. But I think my notes, even from the past, they mostly random, but at least you have them, and they're just taking notes by itself structure your darkroom much more than the rest of the things. So do not hesitate to doing that. And you always need some reference materials, and you need to always just cross-reference the prints and what is like your final result and how it works. So I know that I need a print 80 to 70 0, and it was f11 and it was 13 seconds of exposure. So this is my initial point, and I will start moving from that. And if I want something which is less reddish, but in the same time, you can see on this test print, it's definitely not the direction of the magenta color. So it's not the direction which you want to take, because at some point it became too magenta and it's too much yellow filtration. So you can filter a little bit more, but I want a green back. And the green in the back is literally probably only like 5 points or something from the cyan channel. So we will try to symmetrically move the two sliders in the same time, or you can use actually filtration on your cyan channel. But the problem with the cyan channel, that you cannot really move only cyan channel down. So you need some reference initial point. So you need to start from something like whatever 30 and 100. So it's not really useful. So I never use this method. So I just move the both sliders in the same time. So it was a week and a half after I make a print. So I put the negative back in storage, and now I need to reload it. And I'm also thinking this is probably a good idea to just store it inside the enlarger, but it's sketchy because I have a edge of the negatives outside of the frame, storage frame, so it will be in a dust. So I don't really like this solution. Maybe in future I will solve it somehow, but for now I think it's good enough. So I will just find the negative again and print from there. And here we are. It's not so easy. Usually I have a stickers, so I put the sticker on top, which like I print or not print. I will buy the stickers next time, and I will reintroduce the sticker method, because it's really good to know which actually color coding and the number which you print, so you can cross-reference. It's just good to have a system, like what you print, what you have on your hands, and what you will print in future. So I also was printing a lot. At the moment I don't print a lot, so I still have a lot of things kind of like in the backlog. So I will continue to print more, But I think I just get stuck also with one additional thing. I want to frame the picture better. And I don't like to just put the pictures in a regular, normal frame. I want a personal touch on the frames also. This is one of the things why I'm kind of hesitating to move to the direction of framing. I think it's quite easy, and at least it's also artistic personal touch. It's just a question, do I want to go there or not really? This is really good question and really good thing to, like, you know, process it and think it about. Yeah, but let's load the negative. And it's already a little bit of dust on top, but I hope it will not affect any and don't create any problems in future. So let's load it up, and I definitely will change the cropping factor. So I need to retest some things, and it will change final exposure. So, but this is how the Darkroom works. So you need to change stuff multiple times. You need to reiterate. You need to think about your art, and as many artistic choices you make, as better you are this. So this is why I don't like digital. You don't really make artistic choices. So a lot of things is or preset, it's a lot of things that's pre-automized, it's preloaded, or you have like initial normal looking, even just white balance, all of the things is pre-standardized, pre-normalized, and you don't make artistic choices on that, because every time which is something is misaligned or something is off with a color in a darkroom, you actually need to make artistic choices on that. And this is important. Just keep it in mind always where, like, how and when you work about the art. That's artistic choices is what is different from the normal, you know, making pictures with a phone. So it's quite interesting metal frame, and let's just unpack it and load it and pull up from here our easel. So let's put everything aside. We don't need it for now. I only will need it, everything rests in the end of the print. So what I want to do now, I just want to put the paper in the same exact way, but I want to center around the frame my frame lines. It should be just, you know, roughly the size what I want to see in the final picture, but be careful to mark it, because you can mark your borders. So basically use or pencil, never use the Sharpie here, because you will make a black line on the edges. So it should be quite okay like that, and I will align in the dark frames on my enlarger and the magnification for this particular picture. So just mark it with a small offset on top. Do not touching the frames here, because I want a whole picture, and I will basically kind of not crop anything here. And let's make the test here. So I need to keep all of my picture in this borders, and I want to do it with the frame lines in my enlarger, basically black borders of the film carrier, and not with the frame of the easel itself. So I will align the picture here. Let's test it in the dark. So the idea is to align the picture in the middle. So I have picture which is framed here. Let's remove the all borders from the picture. The first thing what I want to see, that the picture is actually in the light frame and fully covered here. So the next step, I want to zoom in. So I will just move my magnification to the point where I see the picture, and as you can see, it's quite huge difference. So basically the picture will be relatively small, And you can also print with the borders, but for this picture I just want to keep the sides kind of free from the thing. Don't forget that you need a refocus also, and the time probably you need to split it like 3 or something like that, because at the moment we're working with a much higher light density on the paper, and it's really hard to find the focus on this picture because it's on f2, I think, and I cannot really see the grain on this size of the enlargement. But also it's important to have a sharp, good picture, but in the same time this picture will be relatively small. So let's crop it up with the frame lines, something like this, and I want to see the relatively rough borders on my negatives, and this is why I like the frame corners what I have on my Darst enlarger, because I can move stuff and I can crop it up like this, so I can make a final picture with the rough edges of the real negative film. And this is important, and this looks amazing, at least for me. I'm not sure about you, but also keep it in mind that in darkness you need to check if you can open your easel, because for example for me here it's a little bit a problem at the moment, so I cannot fully open it up, so I need to be patient about that. And I also need to think, can I put the paper there? Yes, kind of works, but I need to be cautious about the alignment. I need to be cautious about the placement of the picture in the middle and to not move anything in the dark. So let's try to make a first test prints with these settings, and I will just start with the exposure and see if everything works right with the exposure. I put everything here on the same settings, only I put f16, and I will take steps of 3 seconds and I will test 3-second interval on the paper, in the middle on my face, and I will start from this point, but also I will make more red filtration, so I will put the 5 points on the both filters up. So I will put +5 dots on each filter. So it's not so easy to move both of them now in the same time, but I will try. So I need something like 4 or 5 points, so 2, 4, and in the middle, and here also like 2, 4, and in the middle. So it's not clear to see, but I can try to show it to you on camera how it looks like. And also from my subscriber Andre in the Instagram, I have actually a question about the filters. If you see the color filtrations, so it means your enlarger works. I just have a steps of 5. It doesn't mean that you need to compare them. If you check video on my channel with a repair of this enlarger, you can see that here the wheels actually exponential. And I'm not sure if all enlargers is like that. Maybe some enlargers have a linear wheels, I have no idea. But in this case, they exponential. So basically, if you move something, it makes like exponential difference. And the second thing, that the filters itself, they overall split it somehow, and maybe even from the same brand, same enlarger, but from different year, because they was produced for like maybe 30 years, I think. You will have a different filter sets and they degrade over time. Maybe mine is less powerful than yours. It also can happen, and it really depends. So it really depends on your circumstances. So do not use my numbers, just use a test printer. And I probably will make the new iteration of the test printer because I bought the magnets, and I will show what I can do with the next batch of the test printer. So now let's turn off the light and make a test print. I hope my chemistry is actually on temperature of 35 degrees, which I expect it to be. It's actually a little bit too high, so I will dial it in again. we don't going back to the discussion of the Yobo system itself and how it works for me at the moment after a long period of time, but I hope I can fix it in future, and it's additional project. So I'm using the same old solutions what I have from the previous time. I will use the test printer, and the test printer will help me actually to make the final print. So what I'm thinking at the moment, that I honestly want to print only face, and for that I will in the dark align the test printer with everything on top and just make, yeah. So I will align in the dark the face to the each slot and make 3 seconds interval, and probably I need something like 7 seconds I think on F16, but keep my guess and we will test it a few seconds later. So I hope I did everything correctly. Not sure about that, just because it's clicking. Basically I need to click every time and open the window and click again, because I don't want to really check, you know, the time and change it over and over again, but I hope it will be fine. So let's try to develop it, and I think my temperature is already stabilized here. Yeah, it's 36 degrees, so this is what I like, and let's start with the development of the paper. So I will start with a 45 seconds developer, and now I'm also thinking that it's a good idea to honestly have a small bath to just dip the small amount of paper in a bath and just make, you know, slot dip and dunk development. Maybe this is a good idea. I will think about it a little bit later, and because chemistry I have a lot, I can probably also print something like that in future. So let's start with the preparation. So let's put some developer in the bucket. Let's put it aside, close the lid, and start 45 seconds timer with the rotation. I prefer to start rotation before. Move the temperature probe here to not interfere without rotation. And let's start. Usually everything works fine and correctly, but sometimes, yeah, you know, you have some hiccups with the development. But let's see. I hope also this piece of paper is good enough, because I'm trying to find the time to work on the paper safe and make it for me for 2 paper safes, one for test prints and second one for the larger pieces. So this is a plan what I want to do in future to just save time and put a small case with a paper, with a dosing of the paper for me to just fastly develop test prints and fastly see the result of my tests. Development is done, and now let's go for the bleach fix. Keep it in mind that I developing a little bit with a higher temperature. So keep it in mind that I developing with a little bit higher temperature, and the purpose is my drum is not perfectly heated up. So you can test it if you pour your chemicals in a drum, rotate for the initial period of time of your development. For example, for C41 it's a 3 minutes 15 seconds, and pour the liquid back. And as you probably understand, if it's not the perfect temperature, it means that your drum is cooling your chemistry and you have no proper development. So keep it in mind. So I overheated and later fix it basically with the dropping of the temperature, and you have a mean temperature of the development. So final step is the rinsing, and I do it quickly for the test prints because it's not so important for them, but I do it all the time carefully for the last ones, just in case to have a perfect result all the time in the end. So development is finished. Now I rinse it also with water. And let's open the drum and hope that the test paper was fine, because I'm not sure about that. And yes, we have a perfect example of luck. But unfortunately, I missed the face because I have a small piece of paper, and I will show you what is the circumstances of that at the moment. But first, let's, with a dry cloth, remove all the big droplets of water from the drum, because I'm kind of ready for the final print. And also be careful with the cup, and usually all the drops is here in the cup, and they falling from the cup on the paper, and the paper is underdeveloped. So this is my results of the test prints, and as you can see here, I have the gradation and it looks kind of nice. But unfortunately I was testing a little bit for the t-shirt and not for my face, so I now need to select between two pictures, and I'm thinking about these two pictures because the last one is definitely too much, and the previous one, I think it's a little bit not enough. And with the color balance, I think I have good greens, but maybe it should be a little bit less. As you see, I have a lot of things which I need to fix. So I usually dry these pieces with a hair dryer, but for now I think it's good. I will just keep it. I'm getting sloppy, guys, come on. And I will write down on top of the paper with a Sharpie what is exposure times here, and it's 369, and I probably need around 12 seconds. So I guessed it, and I guessed it wrong as far as I remember. And I need something like 12 seconds, but with a one stop. So I increased the magnification maybe twice, something like that, and I dropped one stop of light. So I closed up the aperture in one stop to get more or less exactly the same settings, which is interesting, and this is cool in the same time. So I will dial in the parameters. So I will remove 2 points from each of the channels because I think it's a little bit too much. And I will develop that and see how it works, because I think it's a little bit too blue now. So I will probably not go back and forth with the multiple testings. I think it just doesn't really make any sense to doing that. But let's see how it goes. I want to show you also a small trick from Chemical Lab, how to put on the gloves which you used before. So the simplicity of that is amazing. And I saw it once, and after that I cannot unlearn it anymore. So you need to put the big finger inside, so inside the glove, and after that you just put all of the fingers inside, and it's much easier, just trust me, especially if the gloves is a little bit wet. So focus on the big finger first and put the rest of the fingers afterwards, and it's like 5 seconds. Small tricks from me. So but now let's make a final development. I exposed the full paper with a 10 seconds with a 2 points decrease from each channel. I will check the temperature again. It's 36 degrees of the bath. So I will take the timer, and on each development it will be 45 seconds on each of them. And I will pour the full volume of the solution because the paper is bigger and I don't want to mess up. So I will pour everything there in a cup, what I have in a bottle, And after that, I will start mixing, and with a turn on motor, I will continue development. This is what I like, that it's 45 seconds only, and it's quite fast, and you're getting results really fast, really agile way without any problems. So 8 seconds to go, and around 3 seconds I will pull up the drum and pour the liquid back. So done. So theoretically it's more than 45 seconds, but because I calibrate everything by my hand on the same test strip with exactly the same conditions, this is what is important. It's important to calibrate stuff for your own process, for your own system. This is why the test printer is one of the crucial parts of your development, because you know what results you will get, and you never missed up on the results. And this is one of the important keys in the darkroom, that you calibrate your eye, your hand, your process, your decisions to one goal, to get the final pictures which you really like. And 9 seconds to go, and I will start pouring back around 3 seconds. But theoretically you cannot over bleach fix, as far as I remember, and as far as I understand the chemistry, what is going on there. But you definitely can overdevelop. But for RA4 paper it's not so important, guys. I tested before. Some subscribers from my channel for sure remember these videos. Then I test the different times and different temperatures. Temperature is more important than the time. You can overdevelop, but in principle it's not so crazy important. So washing step I do in 2 batches. First is just dirty batch, and second one is my clean water for the last rinse. You don't need a lot of water because it's not fiber based paper, it's just coating on top, so we need to rinse the top coating, and this is enough. You don't need like a lot of things on top. So basically rinse several times. If you have a running water, you just do it in a running water, because you can open the drum, nothing will happen. And after that I washed it in, when I was living in Munich, I washed it in a rinse, basically just put it under water, and I have a lot of prints done like that. So let's open it up and see how badly I made the print. But honestly, it looks really good. I'm not sure about the colors. They look a little bit dull. Not sure about that. Maybe I need to add a little bit more yellow. But I can see that the exposure actually is perfect. Like, so final exposure on the print looks incredibly good. The good point about the exposure, that I have a clouds and I can see them. I also can a little bit give more exposures to the shadows, but I don't think it's so important as you can imagine. So let's take this print small minute to dry, and after that I will check the time and let's take this print to drying. I will use just hair dryer to dry it completely, and I will compare it to the colors what I have, and I think it's crazy natural looking. So I think it looks perfectly fine, and if you see the grass is perfectly green. I'm not incredibly satisfied with the color of my skin, but maybe it's okay. I see perfect white t-shirt, and this is really good indication that everything works fine. So let's check the 2 different pictures what I get. So as you remember, this was the initial one. This is a picture where I start to print, kind of make a first big print, and just compare it in a mood wise, not only with the color wise, with this print. as you can see, it's like two completely different types of work. Here is more like environmental type of portrait, and here is just a portrait. And just think about how much cropping and overall fill create the framing. And just keep it in mind that your decisions here make huge difference. It's so huge, and in comparison, for example, here it's just a boring green, and like you don't really see a lot of things there. It's a little bit different type of picture and a little bit different type of frame. And this portrait actually, it's much nicer, I think, and it's a little bit more subtle, and the difference kind of a more important. And I'm looking at the portrait at the moment, and I'm just thinking it's a different picture, which is funny. And now I'm just comparing two pictures, and now I just realized that this picture and the picture when I make a test print, it's actually completely different picture. And I'm honestly not sure which one I like more, the full portrait one or this one, but it's definitely a different negative, and it's not only cropping, which is incredibly funny and interesting. And I'm not sure which one I want to keep. I can print both, but in the same time, it's quite interesting to see that pictures with a little bit different framing, different arrangement can create completely different perception. And I will probably print the second print from the same roll of film, but with a different frame. And yes, this is why the system is important. So I took this frame from this negative, so the last one from here, instead of this one from here. And they in the same place, yes, but it's two different shots, and I even don't remember that I have a first one. But now I will load this one, and actually I will make a second print, and I will just compare which one I like more. And also what is important for you probably, that I will compare on exactly the same settings two different shots, which was produced with a like 3-minute difference, and we will see what is the difference between both of them. So I made the print off camera, and I think I almost ready for the final print for today. So if you compare these two shots, so this is number 1, which I have, and this one is number 2, which I have. So as you can probably understand, you can switch between the frames if they made in the same time, but keep it in mind that your density of the negatives can vary. And for these two negatives, I probably need add a little bit more here. So I need probably 3 seconds of exposure on this negative more. And secondly, I don't really feel the huge difference between both of them. I have lack of focus here. So kind of this one a little bit better. I like the composition on this one more. It's a tough choice and tough decisions. And I think I will go with this one just because of the focus. It will bother me. From the distance, I cannot really see the huge difference, but I see it's misfocused. So with backwards focus on this particular frame, I hope you can see that in close. So you can see it's not perfectly in focus. It's a little bit off. It's important if you hang it on the wall. So let's fix this one. So I will add 3 seconds of the exposure on top. And additionally, what I want to do, I need small amount of the yellow back in the shot. So I will dial back the yellow with the 2 points, and it should actually make it. So I will make a final print. I will compare all of them. And I think it will be last print for today because it's also late and I want to finish for now. So I also printed off camera final adjustments and now I have final perfect image. And for comparison, I have two pictures like that. This one is the first one and this one is the second one. And as you can see and remember, I make two small step adjustments, plus 3 seconds of exposure and basically -1, so basically -2 points of yellow filtration. And guys, this is the difference between both of them. Once again, this is the final one and this one was before. I hope you can see it correctly in the camera. I'm not sure about that, but this is a difference between two shots. And the difference is quite dramatic, as you can imagine. And the final shot I really like. So the idea, I have a passepartout and I will put it in a passepartout like this. So I need to tape it down and I have a final assembly. So let's do that and let's finish the video after that. And I will show you the final result of my endeavors here and continue to producing work in the next videos, but stay tuned. I will assemble it. So I will assemble it now in the frame and let's change the so now I will assemble it in the frame. So now let's assemble it in the frame. And for that I need actually good tape and not just simple tape like this, because in reality both of them will work. And I like to use the tape which I can remove in future. So to mount it up, I need to just align it in a square, something like that. Rotate it like this and apply tape on one side. Honestly, I will just use exactly the same tape. In principle, this type of mountings, it's fancy to do with some special adhesive tape and so on and so forth. But I probably want to reuse the different frame in future. And also, it doesn't really matter between the glasses. And this is not some, fancy pants frame which you can use, in the fancy occasions. But it will do. So you just need to tape it from one side. Never tape it from both sides, because the paper will shrink and it will create a warpage. The best idea is actually only tape it on one side in the middle with a one strip. This is the best solution. I just took both sides just in case, because this tape is not like crazy perfect and I wanna keep the picture in a frame. So let's put it in a metal frame. So I will put the picture aside here and let's assemble everything back. So I first of all need to remove this paper. I can put it in the back. It's not crazy necessary to keep it here. I will remove the protective layer from the acrylic, and acrylic is like not the best material. Yes, it's quite ugly, honestly, especially in terms of transparency, but it's lightweight and this is what I like about it. So you can put the picture whatever you want. You can just tape it up and it doesn't create any problems in terms of drilling of the holes in your apartment. And sometimes this is quite important to not drill anything, because you can change it up and you can change how the things looks like in future. So let's lock it up. If I can figure it out how to do that. Okay, it's a sliding hook. Something like this. And I need to find special groove in a metal frame to basically clamp it there. But yes, this is my final picture. Looks quite nice. So guys, this is final result of my work, and this is the picture what I have. I quite satisfied with the colors. After some looks, maybe I want to add a little bit more warmth to the picture. Not sure about that, but overall it looks and feels really great. I actually thinking that it's quite nice to have ability to balance such a challenging picture, because not all the time you have, you know, in the same time portrait, greens in the back, kind of a difficult lighting, and you need to think about all of that, because sometimes you can sacrifice background greens, you can sacrifice your face features, colors, and you need to think and make artistic decisions. So once again, this is final result in the frame. I hope you can see it because of reflections, but that's it. So thank you for watching. That's it for today. I actually turn off the support on the YouTube channel because I'm thinking, okay, I will release the videos once in a while, and I will also probably turn off the coffee, and I will think about it later. But for now, once again, thank you for watching. Put a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.